What is up, everybody? I am back here at PlebLab for day 4 of this live stream of the State of Pleb Lab. We're going to talk all about what is going on here in the Mecca, Austin, Texas, the Bitcoin Mecca, so to speak. So we got two college kids who are here on their spring break. We got Michael. Oh, excuse me, Michael, and oh man, I forgot your name. And Andrew. You guys pick up the mic and talk into it. So you guys are from the Midwest. Well, I don't know if you're actually from there, but from Purdue University. So what brings you guys down here, and why did you decide to come to South by spring break instead of getting wet and wild at like Panama City Beach or something? Coming down here to Austin and checking out the Bitcoin scene.
Funny you mentioned that. I'm pretty sure half of my friend group is actually like in Florida right now, but. Yeah.
Hey man, that's what I was doing when I was in college.
Dude,
so
I just wanted to make the most of spring break. I'm about to graduate college, so I want to start getting out there and seeing as much as I can about Bitcoin because I'm an aerospace student at Purdue.
Okay.
And there's that field. It's rocket science. Rockets go fast, but that field moves slow.
Yeah.
That field moves slow as hell. And I was always looking for something more, I guess. And then I found Bitcoin. I took a gap semester and ended up here. And Austin is really nice. The barbecue is nice. So I figured we might as well come down here for spring break, Yeah. And I wrote my brother into it. So
there we go. Okay. So you guys are siblings. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I can't really get wet and wild in Florida because I'm still in high school. So
oh wow. Okay.
Not a lot to do over spring break other than, I don't know, like fun things to get interested in. It's my last year of high school, so I mean, looking for things to do in college, I guess. And I just, Andrew he roped me into Bitcoin mostly, but I think it is a very interesting field. I'm trying to major in like math or CS. I think that this like with cryptocurrency is Bitcoin is like one of the most interesting applications I've found recently. And yeah, I mean, for me, it's also spring break, so it's like. Yeah, Austin's warm. It's a nice place to go from New Hampshire is where my school is. It's like it's too cold there.
Yeah.
Too much snow.
Yeah, no, I get it. So I mean that's pretty interesting though that you guys both are kind of here almost like thinking about, what you want to do in the future. Obviously, it's a growing field. There's a lot of jobs, a lot of startups and other things like that. And a lot of things that you'll get exposure to while you're here, especially here at PlebLab. We got startup day here tomorrow for those in town and want to check it out. Or for those out of town, I'm going to have people kind of coming in after their pitch and everything and talk about their product, service, and their company and whatnot as well. But yeah, so you guys came to essentially like learn a little bit about what's going on. Tell us about like your experience in Bitcoin. I know, older brother kind of dragged in younger brother, it seems, which, that's kind of my family dynamic as well. So I can definitely relate to that. But, is the end goal to kind of, I guess, more for learning today, or not today, but this week, or is it more like networking? Are you guys potentially trying to work in this field? Obviously, you're kind of just graduating high school, so maybe you're thinking more about college. But yeah.
I'm trying to get him started young. Gotta get him while they're young.
No, for sure. I think that's the best thing to do.
I'm out here to network, see what the outside world is like. Purdue is a bit of a bubble out in the Midwest, but networking, trying to get exposure to different things. Looking for work in the field. Although, with the markets this past week, that's not too hot. But definitely looking to learn, talk to different people about different things. There's all sorts of cool projects going on, and I'm trying to apply my experience from that engineering background into this field. So there's a ton of cool stuff to do. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, for me it's pretty similar. This week I'm really learning is a top priority. I'm still like relatively new to the field. Like I've only really been deeply looking into Bitcoin for like a few months or so. So I'm trying to learn like what kind of new businesses are going on top of Bitcoin, what kind of protocol improvements are being made. And then networking too is really valuable. I mean, just for learning, even like you learn a lot of stuff just from talking with people who know how the field is and know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, I mean, jobs are nice. For me though, it's the first two is definitely getting to know like about the field itself, getting to know who's in the field, what they're doing.
Yeah, well, let's keep the microphone with you for a second. So you've just kind of gotten into the Bitcoin, I guess, rabbit hole. Maybe it's the influence of your brother or whatnot. But what's something? Obviously, we have you have your high school education. You're just about to graduate here in the next few months or so. But the interesting thing is like we always talk about in the Bitcoin space how there's a lack of like financial education when it comes to traditional education systems. It's not really taught in high schools or anything like that, or even in college, for example. But for somebody who's just graduating high school and kind of going through that rabbit hole, only even though you've only been in it for a couple months, what has that kind of journey been like? Have you kind of gone through the just maybe even like the personal finance kind of rabbit hole where you're learning about how to manage your money and other things like that? Because for me, I kind of learned that a little bit from my parents, I guess. But it was mostly just self-taught stuff. So I'm intrigued to hear, how Bitcoin has kind of maybe changed that path for you.
No, I'm really glad you asked that. I mean, it's like in my high school, I feel like it's I mean, because it's like you have to apply. And so I feel like there's kind of bubbles popping up where there's like half the student body is like just focused on athletics, half the student body is like just focused on academics. And then within like the academics bubble, it's like some people are just focused on CS, some people are just focused on like English or whatnot. It feels like there's not a lot of people interested in economics or finance. And so for me, I've certainly learned a lot of my like economics, like history of money knowledge only by looking into Bitcoin and reading like history of money, where Bitcoin fits in there. Like yesterday, I went to the HRF thing
Uh-huh.
at the Bitcoin Commons, and there was this video about how Bitcoin can be used to combat like monetary colonialism. I thought that was like really interesting. I mean, I didn't really know how that happened. I mean, at my school, they talk a lot about colonialism and history, but we don't ever really learn about money, how money fits into history. And seeing like, I mean, the world runs on money. You need money to buy stuff. Like it's so important, but we never talk about it. And so I think learning how say like um oppressive regimes can use money to control people, it's really eye-opening for me, you know.
Yeah, and I mean it's interesting that you say that too, because for those who aren't in Austin who don't know, Alex Gladstein from obviously head of HRF came down and showed a great video about Africa and kind of how France and other places like that have come in and colonialized countries, and like he was describing, essentially just use that monetary string to control the entire continent of Africa. It seems like so. It's interesting you bring that up because in the United States, we have been very blessed and lucky to basically have the global reserve currency for, your and I's entire lifetime. And, probably everybody listening here, it coming down to like 1971 or so. And, because of that, we haven't really had to think about a lot of the after or like side effects of, not having that global reserve currency. And so, what that video really showed me yesterday from Gladstein is that, every single country that isn't as lucky to, have their own global reserve currency or like have a very strong fiat currency like the euro or something like that, inflation hits them a million times harder. And, those authoritarian regimes can also control and kind of like use that to really keep their people down. And it is truly, disheartening kind of seeing all that stuff. And it is a little doom and gloom because, I think a lot of things that we see here going on at PlebLab, especially this week, is, there's a lot of exciting developments and, kind of like moving forward when it comes to coding and other things like that. But we aren't really, maybe we get away from, what Bitcoin can really do, I guess, just like globally and kind of help with that monetary policy, changing it and, really just kind of decentralizing it away from those powerful regimes who have kind of been controlling, a lot of people, a lot of countries, and a lot of things like that too. So, I'll pass the mic to your brother here. And what did you think of that video? Somebody, who's got a little bit more education than their brother, right? I mean, you're a senior in college, so a little 4 years down the road. How did that video kind of, I guess, affect you? And, did you have any sort of exposure or like, I guess, thought of, how Bitcoin could help some of these maybe like third world countries that, maybe get forgotten in all this hubbub?
Yeah, well, you mentioned doom and gloom. That video was certainly quite doom and gloomy, but hey, on the bright side, we're here, bringing up the younger generation, trying to get people educated about this kind of stuff. I definitely echo what my brother said about not having any exposure to this in the traditional school system. It's just as if it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, I remember we were talking a few days ago about his economics class in high school, and I was asking him like, hey, so how does they taught you how money works, right? Like, and then just asking the very basic questions that will prick a hole in Keynesian economics. And then I don't know, it seemed to me like that made your whole understanding from your economics class fall apart pretty quickly, which was fun for me to watch, as an older brother. But yeah, Purdue and all of these traditional schools, they don't teach this kind of stuff, I don't think.
Yeah, it's not a fault to Purdue, because I went in a public school system here in Austin, and then I went to A&M, University of Memphis. So I have some other background and other things like that, and it's interesting because I took like economics, econ, like 101 or whatever it was in school, like a gen ed class. I took it in high school too, and to be honest, like I did not give any care for economics when I was in high school. And then I kind of like realized like, hey, like all this economic stuff just like really affects, your overall wealth. Like you're essentially like money hits everything. And, I think as the deeper you guys get down the rabbit hole, there's great things going on in Bitcoin, like the Beef Initiative. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that, but there's, things that like fiat money that has really just affected, all aspects of our lives, how we eat, how we sleep, how we operate kind of culturally, how we kind of go through those things. So, I think you guys are kind of, it seems like you're at the beginning of your journey. And, as you kind of, get away from school and maybe get into start making a paycheck or other things like that. And just, diving into how you're going to, divvy that up, or if you're going to DCA or just buy every 2 weeks with the paycheck, those kind of like little decisions. And as you kind of get through and maybe you listen to podcasts on your way to your commute, or, you kind of find some other like-minded individuals by going to Bitcoin meetups or other things like that. I mean, this is a great step, what you guys are doing here right now. I mean, I feel like I was a lot more immature than you guys at your age, and I wouldn't have done this. Maybe when I was in grad school or something, or later in my college career, but definitely not in high school. At this point, I was not thinking of anything like that. I was just thinking, I need more money to come in, but not how to make my money go farther, or like, the hard money principles behind Bitcoin and things like that. So, let's start with Big Bro here. So since you onboarded your brother, how did you find Bitcoin? And then, obviously you got your brother here, but how's that conversation going with the rest of your family? Like maybe mom, dad, like, are they more receptive to it, or are they like, why the hell am I sending my sons down to Austin, Texas to go learn about this funny internet money?
Yep, they're coming around. The good news is they're coming around. I've been in this field for like 1.5 years now. I took a gap semester at one point from aerospace because I just got bored, felt like moving too slow, and I also didn't like the way the school was teaching it. So I gave myself, I told myself 6 months of my time I'm going to give back to myself and see what I can do with that time. I just went through all sorts of different topics, e-commerce, random things in tech, and then looking for the most interesting thing I could find. And then after those 6 months, I settled in Bitcoin. So that's how I ended up here. And then, you can imagine the first time I brought that up with my parents it was a fun time. It was a fun time for sure. They came here from like the worst years, some of the worst years of the Cultural Revolution in China is kind of when my family like set foot here. So we remember like my mom told us a story about like how our grandparents, mom's side's grandparents in China, had the Red Guard coming around to their store. It's like
Mike in front.
Mike in front.
Yeah. All good. Yeah. So you heard stories from your grandmother.
Yeah. And I guess it was through that kind of lens to explain it. Like, there's so many different lenses through which you can try to explain Bitcoin. I think that was the one that resonated with my parents. And I'm glad to see that it's starting to come around on them right now, especially with the most recent like string of bank failures and whatnot. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That's how I found Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, that's great. I want to dive into that a little bit more though, because I think like there is a lot of crazy stuff going on in China right now, and they're also like rolling out their CBDC and kind of like the control aspect of that. So, have you kind of gotten into maybe more of like the freedom and like maybe the anonymity of Bitcoin, where the way that Chinese is kind of rolling out this CBDC and how that, the social credit score that they're rolling out and other things like that, how that, obviously can affect your money, like can't be out past 10 o'clock, like that kind of stuff that they have the ability to do now, and how Bitcoin can really fix all that. Has that kind of, obviously they're here in the States now. So, maybe you still have relatives over in China, maybe you don't, I'm not sure. But, with all that, or maybe they're still following the news closely, has that kind of resonated with them like a little bit more, I think, or you think, or?
I remember showing them a video of like the drone with the QR code scanning for the COVID check-in at like the toll booth in China. And it's like, it's crazy to see stuff like that. We have relatives in China, but like us two, at least, we don't keep up super closely with them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely two completely different worlds, and stuff like, shout out PayJoin, CoinJoins, Wasabi Wallet, all that. There's so much cool stuff going on in the Bitcoin space right now, aside from, it's it being programmable means it can do so many things that you don't normally think of when you think of money, but it's super cool. The privacy and anonymity aspects of it. I'm sure that he has interest in it as like from the computer science perspective.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a really cool experience for me personally to look at those tools, play around with them and see how they work. It's really fun.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. All right. Now I want to talk to little bro about privacy and like some of the computer sciencey stuff. So here at PlebLab, you are very lucky to be surrounded by some of the best devs, I think, in in the country and in the Bitcoin space. So you get a lot of exposure to that. Have you had a chance to kind of walk around and talk to any of these guys just yet?
Yeah. I met Ben, who was sitting like right there.
Yeah.
About pretty much just Bitcoin space. At the BitDevs meetups, LitDevs too.
Mm-hmm.
I met some guys. I think it's cool to see all the things being built. Haven't talked much about the privacy itself though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard somebody was like, yeah, you got to get these guys on the show today because you helped solve the math problem that some of the adults in the room couldn't figure out. So talk us through that. Like, how did that come about? And what was the problem?
I don't really know how the problem came about. I think they just found it in a book or something. But the problem was like, so you're given some number n. So given n, find the smallest integer m, or if m exists at all, where the first m natural numbers, so like 1 plus 2 plus 3, their sum is equal to n squared.
Okay.
So the solution, I mean, I don't know if I want to explain it here, but it's basically you just do algebra. It's like Gauss's formula on the sum, and then you just quadratic formula, and you can find if the answer exists.
Oh, wow. Okay, there we go. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because, a lot of this stuff, though, I mean, you learned it, and maybe some of us, we learned it in high school, but we don't really utilize it. So, obviously you kind of see how some of this stuff can be utilized in the Bitcoin world. So in that aspect, does that kind of, I guess, intrigue you a little bit more when it comes to Bitcoin? Like, are you, I mean, math has always been my favorite subject. So is that kind of like, does that resonate with you as well, where, kind of solving these problems? And I don't know if you've gone down the rabbit hole on how mining works or anything just yet. If you haven't, I definitely encourage you to kind of go find some resources and do that, because that's, math to a T, like math in real life kind of stuff. So yeah, I kind of rambled on a bit, but have you taken a dive into that just yet?
Yeah, for sure. I think that for me, one of the most interesting aspects to look into is the math behind, like, why is this thing like, for example, why can we trust that these signatures couldn't just be forged, or how do these signatures actually work? Like asymmetric cryptography, we haven't learned about it exactly in school. Like, we didn't really have a cryptography class, but the math classes in CS at my school, I would say, are like actually pretty good for building the foundations. Like, I haven't figured out how the Schnorr signatures work yet. I know that it's like slightly better version of ESDA, where you can or DSA, right, where you can like aggregate them linearly. But I was reading through this book that Andrew recommended to me here, called Programming Bitcoin. It goes through like the basics of elliptic curve cryptography. I thought that was really interesting because this winter I took a class on like abstract algebra. I learned some basic group theory, and seeing how it's actually very applicable towards elliptic curve cryptography was like, that was really a wow moment for me, because I mean, you don't typically think of this kind of math, like groups and stuff, as practically useful in the real world, but like seeing how impactful it is in cryptography, that was really amazing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that is awesome, dude. All right. So where are you going to school next year? Have you decided, or are you going to do a gap year? Have you decided what you're going to do after you graduate?
Still waiting on decisions. Most of the schools are coming out April 1st, March 30th.
Okay.
But yeah.
What's the date today? So today's the 16th. So you got, like
2 weeks.
a couple weeks or so away. All right, man. Good luck. But it seems like too, like I know you said that in your CS classes now that you aren't getting really taught any of this cryptography or other things like that. So I don't know if you've looked into it or anything yet. It does seem like a lot of colleges are kind of slowly integrating maybe a Bitcoin course, or maybe some lessons, or doing some like pop-up talks or something like that. I know here at UT, Texas A&M, they have some Bitcoin related courses. I know the University of Cincinnati, I believe, as well. So they are slowly popping up. And I imagine as this thing runs a little bit bigger or longer, and maybe when you get towards your junior or senior year in college, though, it'll probably be somewhat of a norm, or maybe right after you graduate, unfortunately, like 5-6 years down the road. I don't know. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm optimistic that more of these courses will pop up, especially if we get into another bull run. But I think the other aspect of that too is a lot of Bitcoin companies are popping up and kind of making waves when it comes to like fundraising, doing Series A, B, like getting a bunch of money. And what college's main goal is essentially get you guys hired, or, starting a company and put you in the best position to succeed in your career. And so as more of these Bitcoin related companies come up, and we'll be highlighting a lot of them tomorrow at Startup Day, colleges have that incentive to kind of teach you a little bit more about Bitcoin. And so I think too, as a freshman coming in, you have the ability to kind of either, kind of not maybe influence it significantly, but start talking with people, whether you're meeting with them on campus. You guys have like a Bitcoin group or something like that, where you guys meet on campus, once a week, once a month or something, kind of talk about what's going on in the space or figuring it out. Maybe a Bitcoin devs on some campus. There's a lot of opportunities. I think the best aspect of college, at least for me, it obviously the courses, you learn some stuff and you get prepared for, the real world. But some of the courses, the gen ed stuff isn't exactly super useful, but a lot of it's the networking aspect of it. So, I don't know, you guys are making me feel old sitting right here, but if I were to go back and like do it again, that's where I would try to focus on, a lot of things, is to just focus on like the networking aspect of things and kind of trying to set up some stuff that way. Cause I started to focus on that maybe the last year and a half or so of my college career. And that's where I think it helped me a lot, but I think you guys are a step ahead of me already. So I applaud you guys for coming down here. So what are you most looking forward to in the next couple of days? Are you guys going to be participating in the hackathon?
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that.
So you're participating too, huh?
Yeah.
Shadowy supercoder. shadowy super coder out here. Of course, he has to
Yeah.
participate.
That's awesome.
We got some fun stuff cooking up for the hackathon. Excited to be looking into that. And then we have the takeover at the Commons tomorrow as well. Guest list for that is looking super cool.
So what are you guys going to build on for the hackathon? Have you decided? I believe it's like you could do Nostr, Lightning, Bitcoin Core. So there's like a few different options. Have you guys decided or given any thought as to what you're going to do? Are you guys on a team too?
So far the team is just 2 of us.
Yeah. Well, but, no, that's what I was basically asking, if it was just a team of you guys.
Yeah. So we're looking at Taro right now. Also things like pair credit, a lot of these like layers that are sort of building on top of what we have on Bitcoin and Lightning.
What is Taro? Explain that for the people who don't know.
Oh, the asset representation overlay. It's like it's this thing that Lightning Labs is cooking up, and they are creating a Bitcoin native way to issue assets on the Bitcoin chain.
What do you mean issue assets?
Like you can, the idea is that you'll be able to issue digital assets that are rooted in the Bitcoin chain. So like the actual Bitcoin data structure, the thing that you download when you run a node, there's going to be data on there that verifiably cryptographically points to the existence of some asset that can be interpreted by anyone running the Taro protocol.
Gotcha.
And these assets are, the idea is you'll be able to issue them, trade them, exchange them. We want to play around with that, learn how the thing works. It's super confusing, to be honest, but we want to.
But this is what this is for, though. You know,
exactly.
Give it a try, kind of work and be under the roof of a bunch of different, great-minded, coders and developers who maybe haven't solved that problem that you're going for, but they can help you out. It's brainstorming and all that kind of stuff too. And at the very least, you're getting some exposure, shaking some hands, and building some project for your potential portfolio as you're maybe looking for jobs in the Bitcoin space, or maybe you find a niche where you're creating something that nobody really thought of, and who knows, you're going to create the next Bitcoin company here. So that's exciting stuff. So you're I guess aerospace engineer. So would you say that you're so far a better coder than your brother? Who's
absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's going to be carrying the weight, huh?
He's going to be carrying the weight on that side. I'm the one who does the reading, like deep reading about Bitcoin, and the very like area specific knowledge is like what I accumulate.
Gotcha.
But, my aerospace background is more math than coding. I'm going to be doing a master's in computational finance. So
awesome.
There's I'm interested to see the overlaps between that as well. Like once you have Bitcoin native DeFi, I think is going to be a thing. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Just have to find where exactly that gold nugget is.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome stuff. Well, are you guys on Twitter, on Nostr, or like have any like social media that you're kind of active on?
I'm Andrew Chen 0028 on everything. 0028.
All right. Michael? All right. I'm going to find you real quick. I'm going to find the brothers here. Andrew. Wait. Say that again. Andrew Chan.
Andrew Chen, CHEN 0028.
Andrew Chen.
There's a lot of Andrew Chens. That's why.
0028.
The orange ball.
Yeah. All right. He's got an orange ball right next to him. So everybody go give him a follow. And then younger bro here. What's yours?
On Twitter, I think I'm Michael Chen 1116.
1116.
Is that me?
No. Hello. It says hello Twitter, hashtag my first tweet on 12415. And then my DCA just hit. All right. Michael, I spelled that right, didn't
I?
Another one.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah, one more one.
Yeah. No, we don't have you here. I'll search your brothers. All right. You just tweet at me at Green Candle IT, and then tag your brother too, and and I'll retweet that. So everybody in the crowd listening or tuning in after the fact, give these guys a follow. I mean, we got some young plebs here who are really out here grinding, trying to epitomize what's going on here in Austin. So before I let you go, you guys got to give us what's your favorite nugget of being here so far this week and kind of hanging out in PlebLab and the Commons.
Oh, I think it's super great to go to these cities and have a community of Bitcoiners, like almost wherever you go at this point. But PlebLab and Commons have been super great hosts. So yeah, thanks for having us here. And it's super nice to see everybody working around Austin is a great city too. Love this place. The barbecue is amazing. And, glad to be down here for the week.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely going to the meetups. That's been a really great experience. I mean, at high school, it's like everyone's just focused on whatever's going to get them into college. Here, it's like, and so I mean, no one really talks about Bitcoin. No one talks about Lightning. Here, it's like going to the meetup. There's so many people interested in Bitcoin, and not just that, but in such a wide range of fields and types of work related to Bitcoin. Like you've got humanitarian work, and I met a guy who's working with like capturing gas flares from landfills to power Bitcoin sustainably. I mean, it's so cool to see like such a wide array of businesses building on top of Bitcoin, making it more suitable for the future.
100%, man.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Well, everybody go give them a follow on Twitter. They're going to tweet at me and I'll retweet it. And yeah, thanks for coming in, guys. Yeah, if you don't mind bugging somebody else out there and bringing him in. I know I might talk to Super Testnet today if he's ready, or Evan, who's sitting right out there. So if you guys could grab one of them, that'd be great, man. Yeah. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us on.
Glad to be here. Awesome stuff. All right. Those were some young guns. We got them in here. So I appreciate them coming in and